All right. Okay, cool. So let's just keep going.
I need to say
hear me.
We're on.
I know some horror films used it, but that's a great title for a horror film.
What? Dead Air?
Okay.
Is there not one?
Oh, there is.
I'm sure.
I'm sure it's on Netflix.
There has to be.
I'm sure.
So, one of...
shit in a beard.
and we're live for people who can find me. I think that, if people find... we're posting, so they should be able to find this at the very least. All right, so... I did a lot of research for the movie because, I was really into watching it. I actually really enjoyed the movie. The music actually drew me in early on.
Do you research the music?
Yeah. So I looked up music stuff. So the band seemed pretty accessible. So
Rock Central Plaza is really, isn't that their name?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really cool. That's
the one song I really liked from the movie when Ben does when he sort of dances around. Right. That's from Rock Central Plaza.
Okay, yeah.
And it sounds like something Tom Waits would do from his Frank's Wild Years era, which is one of my favorite Tom Waits eras of all of his eras. But the tagline for the movie, which I think is really genius, is, "In a land ravaged by the dead, Ben and Mickey learn how to survive each other."
Right.
Which is really what the movie's about. The movie, it is a kind of a non-zombie movie, or not an anti-zombie movie, because it's not against zombies, but zombies are sort of like secondary forces in this, and not as threatening.
It's firmly in the mumble gore category.
That's what I was going to say. Would you say it's mumble gore?
Yeah.
Because I want to say, is this mumble gore? I think, but I'm not sure.
Well, it even has Larry Fessenden. He doesn't show up, but he does. He is the voice,
which is
of
weird.
Frank. So yes, that right there is that is kind of one of your
like he's a
cards for your
right.
your entry card. What is it? I can't think
I don't
of
know. Entry points to the genre, but Larry Fessenden was in Trigger Man.
Oh yeah,
he was he's
done his own. He's kind of he's the pre-new wave filmmaker, like the Louis Malle, who or someone like that who's kind of guiding the youngsters into what they're doing here. And so I think Gardner. His film is definitely in that mumble gore vein. The one thing film y'all didn't bring up that it reminded me of more than anything was Trigger Man. It reminded me a lot of Trigger Man.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it did too. It's kind of what I wanted it more of Trigger Man to be more of, is that they had that perfect dynamic of the friends going out on the trip. Trigger Man wasn't a zombie movie, but. Well, I thought that too. The whole idea of the town, the houses, and stuff like that they showed in Trigger Man.
Well, it's just the aesthetic of it was very Trigger Man, but it was like Trigger Man made with characters that I was more entertained by, essentially.
And is that the difference? Because I was going to ask. What is more? I found this movie infinitely more compelling than Trigger Man, but it was just kind of dudes walking around arguing a little bit, and that was basically it.
Well,
the dialogue was really compelling. I think that's what was interesting about the movie.
Right. Well, I'd say the interesting thing to me, if we continue our Trigger Man things, I would like this film's third act to be more like Trigger Man's, and Trigger Man's first two acts to be more like The Battery.
Okay, we can combine the two together.
Somehow do that, because I think that's where Trigger Man got it right, was when
the third act
was the balls out third act. And then I think this is where, and The Battery's third act wasn't bad. It was just what I found to be the least compelling part of the movie. But at the same time, I understood why it was being done that way.
I want to leave the ending to the ending, but I will say that I've never felt so unnerved. Like the length of time that is spent in the car makes you feel the claustrophobia, and that was a ballsy move.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because I finished the movie today at work, but
you're not unemployed.
The idea of at first I was annoyed, like, oh god, are they gonna stay in this car? And then it really did start to get to the point of where I was like, oh my god, they're gonna. It became bothersome. I was bothered by it.
Me too. I think that's the point. It takes a chance.
Right, but it works.
Or a chainsaw.
It works as much as anything because of sound. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's the sound that is the key.
Hey guys, Discmans. Right? Am I right?
I know.
I'm glad I held on to mine.
Do you still have one?
I still have one.
Why are you glad?
Well, because you can't change. If you can't charge anything anymore, your iPhone and iPod are going to be useless.
Okay.
If you need batteries, Discmans take batteries. Even though mine took 8 AA batteries to go through them in 4 hours.
My first one, it was like charging a spaceship.
Can you charge spaceships?
Yep. I will say,
did Elon Musk just come up with that technology?
I'll say the third character in this movie is the soundtrack. I think that the movie is completely tied to the soundtrack, and for some reason it all works. I mean, from the very Johnny Cashy sound, it is a cover of a Johnny Cash song in the beginning. Ain't No Grave, right? That is from the opening credits.
I didn't do as much research on that soundtrack as you did.
But I'm just saying,
I'm just here for horror movies. I can't.
But I think it is a cover of Johnny. I think it is a cover of a Johnny Cash. I think it's from the final album he made.
Is that 80s rock or metal? Because then no help.
That's true. That's true. So, but the soundtrack was really.
But Brian will have a sound sample for later, I'm sure, for something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the reference.
But the movie does definitely have mood. It's more about mood than anything else. There is really no. It pushes the boundaries of what we can consider a horror movie, which is what I enjoy about a lot of what we watch. It is it's very conscious of genre, because it sort of doesn't fit into the zombie genre, and it sort of avoids all those tropes that we've become so comfortable with.
Well, I would like to think it's very much like The Last of Us, so now we can talk about it and ruin it for Tyler.
God damn it!
Even though
this is the only way you can do a spoiler, because I have to sit here and listen to it.
I haven't beat the game, but having played it so recently, I thought about that too. This is The Last of Us, basically The Last of Us before The Last of Us came out.
Yeah.
I think I would watch a TV show that consisted almost solely of people walking from house to house and looking for things. I wish that there was a zombie game that had maybe
You should play The Last of Us.
a few encounters. I wish I had a PS3 now. It has a few encounters with zombies or other people, but most of it's just kind of people walking around and finding things in cabinets. I love it in literature. I love books that are like
You
that.
literally just described The Last of Us.
Or State of Decay.
Which I can play.
Yeah, you should check that out.
A
lot of that is just searching in a house. There are zombies around. Yeah, you have to fight them, but I mean, the rest of the time...
Z for Zacharias. Do you guys remember that book?
Here's a cabinet. Oh, let me check in this cabinet. Oh, no.
Or Fallout. The game that I never play is... Fallout's very similar.
Fallout 1 and 2.
And there are zombies.
If Fallout didn't have all of the bugs and shooting, if it were just...
We're talking about 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
There
are 2 Fallouts before the Fallout.
Right. I know.
You'll be fine on it.
Oh, there are 2 games before the Fallout 3?
Before Fallout 3.
Well, you keep saying Fallout.
The Fallout's...
He didn't say Fallout. He didn't say Fallout 3.
Yeah, because when people talk about Fallout today, they obviously talk about the first... That's like when you say Grand Theft Auto, people are like, now are you talking about the shitty overtop Grand Theft Auto ones, or the later ones that everyone talks about?
Whenever I say a Metal Gear game, I'm easily meaning Metal Gear.
I'm obviously meaning the first one that is based on the Terminator.
Check out State of Decay. I think
I'm going to. I can afford all the games I want.
But this movie? Yeah, I have a job. This movie, along with The Last of Us, and even The Road to a certain point, is that I have down here is the zombies are. Let me find my little note here. I think we've learned from most zombie films that zombies are really just the obstacle. It's the other people that are the problem.
Oh yeah.
As in, and I like that they're so sparse. The movie is very sparsely done. It's kind of a really this movie is visual feng shui, because it's a lot of really nice still shots. There isn't a lot of movement with the camera. Mm-hmm. It's set the camera down, watch these 2 characters sort of be in the scenery. There's a lot of nice colors in it. I mean, and this movie was done on almost no money.
I think we talked about in the Bay episode, which may or may not have been released yet.
It's sort of like Lost. The timeline of the podcast is like the TV show Lost.
The Bay should be released before this.
Well,
I think.
Maybe the idea of the Terrence Malick horror movie this is probably as close as we're gonna get.
Yeah, very good fucking. This is 2 hours shorter than a Terrence Malick.
Yeah, but there was a scene where the end, he grabs the bug and looks at the bug on the top of the car.
I love that moment.
Yeah.
When it jumps and he sort of just looks up. I think that for minor actors, the way that they are, that they did a really good job.
Mickey, I thought, had a very JGL thing.
I was thinking Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I don't use the hips.
Sorry.
But now I do know JGL.
No, I think you're right about that. And I liked that they were 2 completely different people, and it took you a while to realize
the same person.
that Mickey was kind of just timid about everything, Ben
is just
Ben.
Ben is just the complete opposite of that. He I love
like he was waiting for this to happen.
He's not unlike Tallahassee from Zombieland. I mean, this is where he is thriving in this. Where I imagined that pre-zombie outbreak, he was struggling and unhappy. Whereas this is giving him the chance to be like a hipster Thoreau.
I don't get the idea that he was a great catcher.
He was. They make the comment that he was the starting catcher, and Ben was the Mickey was the.
He was in
backup,
the
bullpen, and Ben was the starting catcher.
Okay, for this minor league team.
The
Pittsfields.
What's the team that Kenny Powers plays for?
Yeah, I think
Myrtle Beach.
I think they're from Pittsfield because they talk about the girl he dated in Pittsfield.
Right, I thought that's just what they were playing, but that might have been it. I don't recall 100% on that.
Okay, so
you stop, you die.
Yeah.
Well, you stop, you die. You wear headphones in the zombie apocalypse. The worst idea of anything.
Well, he makes and I like how they address that later too about Ben saying, "Well, I'm going to wear them now since you're, it's your turn to kind of be the one who worries about everything."
Yeah.
It definitely plays into it. It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes character sense, I think, because Mickey is more detached from this world. He doesn't know quite how to live in this world, so he's trying to check out of it. And mentally, he's sort of checked out. Whereas Ben, he is fully in the moment. He even talks about, it's almost like this movie is the basis for transcendentalism because he's in the moment, he's in nature, he feels every moment, he's happy, he's looking around, he does not create a barrier between himself and the world like music does that.
Good question to jot down for Jeremy Gardner.
Like, is he a fan of transcendentalism?
Yeah,
I'll definitely ask that. That's always one of the questions.
How about this? It's like, so let's add this. It's The Road meets The Walking Dead meets Kevin Smith meets Into the Wild.
Maybe. I think that definitely plays into it.
Meets Thoreau.
Thoreau and Emerson definitely have at least
Emerson Nice
influence
Titties?
on this. Mm-hmm. Yes. Emerson Nice Titties?
Like
what is
Emerson Nice Titties? Emerson Nice Titties.
God damn it. Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Is it working, Gina?
Yeah, you have 5 people watching.
Why are you questioning her?
I don't know because she keeps looking at it and watching.
Oh, that's right. Because those people can watch. We can edit this part.
Because she keeps walking in and looking like, I've got to make sure this works.
I think I'd like to.
I chatted. I wanted to see.
Oh, cool.
I'd like to piggyback off your
Emerson
little plug.
Emerson Nice
Cities. Those are the best zombie boobs I think I've ever seen.
Hey,
Okay.
I told someone. I made a comment earlier. I can't remember. Well, I wanted to tweet it, but I'll wait until this is done. But maybe the most realistic what would happen if I was in a zombie apocalypse. I've always been because she was pretty sweet and hot. I would probably jerk off to that too.
That was.
But it was great. Okay, that makes sense.
But it's such a transgressive scene. That is a sex crime.
Is it?
Yes, if you were masturbating in front of anyone else.
She's dead.
But that's what I'm saying.
Is it necrophilia?
Maybe. But what I'm saying is in any other situation, that is a sex crime. And then he's just, it's like, oh, there's this dead lady with nice boobs in front of me. I'm gonna...
And then Ben comes in and goes, welcome to Operation Sex Crime!
Stretch. Don't pull your shoulder out stretching for that one.
But that...
Go ahead.
No, I don't know that I had anything more enlightening than that.
I destroyed it with Operation Sex Crime.
It is interesting.
Destroyed it, yeah.
Well, Ben shows no sexuality whatsoever, so it seems like Ben is content just sort of existing, whereas Mickey wants this other thing.
He wants a girlfriend.
He wants contact.
He wants a girlfriend.
He wants anything. Any human contact that's not his best friend. He wants to be as far away from this guy as possible.
Before a girlfriend though, that's what he looks at. He doesn't latch on to Frank and say, hey Frank, it's like you remind me of my dad. Can we chat and talk?
But before the masturbation scene, before we get that great scene of Mickey, with Ben in a waterfall showering.
Ben should.
Ben should be Mickey.
He hangs
their names should be switched. Ben's character fits more like a Mickey. We hit the mouse pad, so we can at least see it. Yeah, just don't click it.
No, but the scene that I was talking about, not the hanging dong scene, but we get the typical zombie of like her stumbling, and we get the camera kind of swaying with her as she walks towards Mickey in the car. Huh? I mean, that was kind of what you expect from a zombie movie, is that behind dragging thing. So that was like the only typical thing we get in this movie of zombies.
Because you never expect nice boobs.
Yeah.
That's
one
the
rotting.
Yeah.
That's the unexpected.
But she's freshly dead.
I read an interesting thing as I was doing my modicum of research that I did here, was that the main characters were all named after
Baseball.
cartoon mice.
Really?
Or rats,
At least. Who's Ben? Benny.
Ben's obvious. Come on. You're good.
Oh, Ben.
Yeah.
Durr.
Yeah, Ben.
Mickey Mouse.
And Mickey.
Wait, who is
And
Ben?
apparently...
Ben. Michael Ben, the two of us need no more.
It was
You know that.
Willard, and then Ben was the sequel to Willard in the 70s.
Okay.
Great.
I'll trust you.
Movies about killer mice.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me know it anymore.
Okay, that's okay.
No, let's sing. Let's sing.
We're just surprised.
Yeah. We're just disappointed.
These old men are just surprised that you don't know.
The Christopher. Give me help here. The guy from Back to the Future, old McFly, Christopher.
Oh gosh, and now good job on that one. Now,
Because now I
Chris
made
Big Glover.
Chris Big Glover
Not Christopher.
did that movie Willard about the killer rats.
Yes.
About
That
10
was a
years
remake
ago.
of Willard.
Yes. I've seen Willard.
Then you
There's
know
the
Ben.
original
No.
Willard. Ben is the sequel to Willard.
Is there a
was the
Ben
other-
in Willard?
Yes, Ben's the bad rat in Willard. Willard's the guy, I guess. And then there's a bad.
I've never seen
So
it.
I don't know these movies.
But Ben, I did. Me and a friend loved those.
I watched
as a
it
kid.
once. I watched it once when I was 5.
Ben's the bad rat.
Willard?
Ben's the bad rat that leads all the other rats to kill at the end of Willard, and then he gets a sequel, which is Ben. That's where Michael Jackson.
Willard
when I
came
was
out after Charlie's Angels.
When I was in 3rd grade, I mean, I watched horror movies at a really young age. Probably, in the 3rd grade, I had a birthday party, which was just a sleepover where I rented a bunch of horror movies and forced my friends to watch them. The first one we watched, Sleepaway Camp. Talk about hanging dong. Sleepaway Camp pulls
Maybe
that
the
off.
best hanging dog scene ever. Besides the crying game.
Yeah. I do like. I mean, the movie isn't filled with like really memorable lines, but there are a few cool back and forths. One of my favorites is where he says, "I'm the only person." He says, because he's like, something. You're the only person I know who could walk across Connecticut and get fatter. And
Yeah.
Ben says, "I'm the only person you know, Nikki. Period. Plus, I'm a catcher." No, he says, "Plus, I'm a catcher. I'm allowed to be fat." He says, "You earned it." He says, "Fuck you." Fuck you to death. And that's one of my favorite comebacks in the whole movie.
I like you're a one-pitch bitch, Mickey.
Yeah. I wrote that down too. Yeah, that's good.
There's a Tremors reference.
Yeah.
Is there, like, what is it?
There's also Jerry. That was the other guy, and then one of the girls was named.
Jerry was the guy that held him at knife point?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Annie is apparently
And Egghead.
a mouse book. That was the last.
What about Egghead?
Why do you think?
It was not.
Why do you think rats? I mean, is that?
This was somebody brought up themselves. I didn't notice that. That was not.
So maybe like humans are the rats of this post-apocalypse because they're just in the absence of society, humans become rats. I mean, we really just become scavengers at that point.
You know,
But they
like
don't compare.
nothing compares to you.
I won that one.
In the Matrix, when Agent Smith has his speech about how we're just was it a virus or a bacteria that's going there?
A virus on legs.
Yeah, I mean that's what we are. I don't know what that has to do with rats, but bubonic plague. I brought it back together.
I admit problem.
God
There,
damn,
but they don't compare. Rats.
I don't remember.
They don't compare. Rats.
So after
Sorry.
the where Ben or Mickey rubs one out in the
Right.
car, they
Almost.
come cabin. Do you think he got a completion? I don't know. Is that to be
Did
assessed
he get
on the podcast?
a fear boner, like a fear ejaculation?
Well, I mean, there has to be
He's
that
already on the
element.
way. I mean, that was.
There has to be that element.
Can you stop it that quickly?
Not once you're in the vinegar strokes.
yeah,
But the subsequent sequence at the cabin shows really how people and frustration work, because what happens is you will argue a little bit with people, but the frustration gets pent up and then it all comes out in one long burst, usually at the wrong moment, because Mickey has been pissed off at Ben the entire movie,
Right.
but then when they get to the cabin, he realizes he wants to say, so he decides, this is my moment, I'm going to take it, and so he goes in and just screams it at Ben for a moment, and Ben's like, whatever.
Yeah, but he still passive aggressively does stuff like that's when he does like you're gonna wear the head. I'll wear the headphones since you want to stay here.
Yeah, that is passive aggressive.
Oh my god!
Or puts a zombie in his bedroom.
I had that. I had like regardless of the dynamic, if someone shows a zombie in my room and locks the door, they're getting killed after I get done.
We're fucking done.
Yeah, but the
podcast will be over at that point.
I had down here just like, is there anything else to do in a post-apocalyptic world except to roam?
Yeah,
like that's all you can do. And this begs a bigger question, and like we've talked about in other zombie films, like I would just fucking kill myself.
Yeah, that would be it.
If that's
what
it,
Kirkman said, right?
If that's
Kirkman
it,
just said I would just hang myself.
That's it. That there's no coming back. Like this, like when Ben says, like the switch is turned off, nobody's gonna flip it back on.
Yeah, goddamn.
Done.
Yeah, I mean, because even when you think about novels like The Stand, the idea that you'd be able to put society back together in even a remotely interesting way. I mean, it's kind of like, it reminds me of when people talk about religion and they say, okay, if right now everyone's mind was erased of the concept of Jesus, would he ever reappear in the same way that he has been? No. I mean, unless it was true, he would not, the conception of Jesus would be gone as we see it now. So would society.
Like, would we have that Lord of the Flies moment where we're all just like going at each other and killing and raping, and then all of a sudden people come to rescue us and we're like just standing there like yeah, like all this shit that you just went through for like 2 months. Now we're back here to save you. So how do you deal with this stuff?
Like it was a test.
Oh, I guess it's like The Mist.
Yeah. God.
The end.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Like
he's 7 years old now.
The end of the movie is like,
the book is much more ambiguous and opaque.
Right, but in the movie, when he gets rid of everybody, then all of a sudden everything's fine now. We got rid of everything.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do with how do you rebuild your life after all this?
You become a male prostitute.
The Mist.
The Mist. Thomas Jane did.
Hey, I'd probably follow that too.
The Mist ends similarly to World War Z. I mean, it's a much more depressing ending. There's much more hope in World War Z, but the idea that
they're hoping for a sequel.
Yeah, true.
Brad Pitt's highest grosser right now.
Is it?
At $500 million worldwide. Wow.
It did better than
Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim in Japan. I saw that Pacific Rim kind of bombed in Japan.
It did.
Seen it. Been there. Been there. Done that.
That sucks though, because they were really banking on that though.
They were.
It's fine. I'll buy the DVD. The Blu-ray.
I won't. But I'll watch
what?
This. I don't have a Blu-ray player.
Oh,
sure.
That makes sense. Buy it anyway. Help Guillermo.
Yeah. What? Say it again?
Help Guillermo. Guillermo.
You bring up an interesting question.
That I can't pronounce his name right now.
I mean, if society were suddenly obliterated, like, what would society look like? Would it be worth it? And how long would it take to get things put back together? Would we ever get electricity again?
I don't think you...
come back to.
Yeah, I don't think you guys have to worry about what I'm going to do when society collapses. Die. Well, either kill myself... I'll probably enjoy myself for a little bit.
You would be the Danny McBride of our apocalypse. You would have... Yeah, you'd have someone on a chain wearing a leather mask.
But no, you're going to be one of the first people killed because of that.
Right. I would be taken out because of my weird ways.
Or maybe you would be the one with the leather mask being butt-fucked by just a gaggle of dudes.
It's over. Who cares? Who's going to judge me now?
So
I'll be like Tupac. Only God can judge me.
That's true. I think that's the allure of movies like this, is that everyone has a weird eschatological ending in mind. We all sort of look forward to the end of the world because it would free us. We only live once, but imagine what it will be like if we were just like. I mean, today if I was just like, fuck it,
YOLO. Yeah, pound YOLO.
If I just walked out, left everything behind, what's the worst that could happen? I could go to prison.
This is what we've been afraid of them doing.
Right, we're all waiting for that call.
We were hoping to get a job.
All it takes is one missed student loan payment. I'm like, fuck it.
Like when sometimes when we send you emails,
you know the ranger station's right over the hill.
like sometimes we'll get emails and stuff from you, like a bunch of good stuff, and then we don't hear from you for 4 days. Like, Is Tyler going to make it to the podcast tonight? I'm not sure. He may have disappeared.
Maybe. Drive by his house, see if there's just like shit on the lawn, just the door's open.
Like you? Like you just shit on the lawn because you're
No, stuff.
Oh, not
metaphorical
shit.
shit.
Not eschatological
Take this,
shit.
it's free.
The dog's
Have you ever seen
running free?
The dog's just like running around. They
I'm
would be
running
shitting.
home.
Uh,
Running free.
Yeah.
I chose guitar instead of the lyrics.
It was kind of a wet guitar too when you're playing it under. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the underlying thing. I mean, I certainly admire that. I kind of, at the same time, it's a really selfish fucking way to look at life to think, well, things would be a lot better if the world ended. If 99% of the population died, things would be better.
Well, what, like this, and like, we're going to refer to the road, I'm sure, a lot, but
you have.
But the point of, the road had a big impact on me. But
It's a good book.
the idea that the main character wanted to stay and continue his life, go on with things, try to make a living, and then his wife just decided, like, why? What are we doing? And she just walks out and everything, and who knows what happened to her. It's like, it's a great representation of, like, what is holding you into these societal norms of what we should do. I mean, if the shit hits the fan, why can't we all go back to acting like animals?
Yeah, I mean,
sticking our fingers in each other's butts and smelling.
What Doug Stanhope says that people try to like erase their faults, but he says that the things that are fucked up about you are really the only things that are interesting about you. Because the more normal you try to be, the more like everyone else you are. He's like, you should embrace how fucked up you are and just live that life, because that's really what is interesting, and that's the only thing that's going to make your life an interesting life.
Don't take that advice.
I'm saying, like, I think that's the exact speech given at the end of the movie Angus.
Is it?
By Tracy Scott?
No, by the big guy to Dawson Leary.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've never seen the movie.
He's like, oh, because we're not like you? He's like, you're goddamn right, that's right. No one here is like you, Dawson.
Go get a creek.
That's
or a football.
You're up a creek. That's what they were missing in Angus.
Yeah.
Was that little nod? That,
You're up a creek, Dawson.
Guess what? You're all out here on your own. You're up the creek without a paddle.
Kevin Williamson wrote it.
Pretty good movie.
I've never seen
Angus
it.
is a decent movie.
Yeah.
And a pretty nice steak.
And a sweet soundtrack.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, it had Weezer and
it was one of those 90s.
I was gonna say Weezer and Goo Goo Dolls. Like that doesn't really back up my comment.
That was another one of those. But that's one of those. That's when in the 90s it was a big deal to have that cool soundtrack. Yeah.
I remember going to buy
Empire Records.
No. Like,
That's a good soundtrack.
I was at
the movie never came out, but the soundtrack did.
I was at the CD store at the mall, which
describe it.
Okay, so there's this. There used to be
Record
places.
bar, tracks.
I think it was either Camelot or
Warehouse.
Camelot. It may have been Warehouse Music. Warehouse Music had finally taken over everything. But I was when you could listen to the CD at the counter, and I was trying to decide between the new Korn, the very first Korn album, or the Angus soundtrack. I went with the Korn album.
It's a good first album. It hasn't
aged well. What was funny, another funny story is that I went to Media Play when that was still open.
Wow.
And
how about On Cue?
And happened to be there, and I was like, why is everybody standing around in this line? Oh, Korn's signing albums today. I just happened to have the album in my car.
What?
You got to get it and bring it back?
Yeah, I got him to sign it.
I was, as far as Korn goes, the first album, I was like, these guys seem pretty messed up.
The first album is great.
Well, they also seem like genuinely messed up people. I thought that Jonathan Davis had a genuine psychological problem from the way he would... I guess
that one song where he just cries at the end. He's like, "I fucking hate you."
Should we call it new metal scatting? Is that what it is?
New metal scatting. Boy. He really perfected it on the second album.
Yeah. Well, the first song.
With the Rush album with Adidas, All Day I Dream About Sex on it.
The second album's not bad.
But it was like they admit it was.
It doesn't age well.
I'm bringing up Korn interviews that I read in Pulse magazine in 1997.
I Spin magazine. Let's talk about Spin magazine.
I'm talking about Rip magazine articles.
I was about to stop this, and then I realized I'm actually kind of vaguely interested in this. This is fascinating.
Oh my
It's
god!
Like
You never got into corn?
Oh no, it's like someone dug up a time capsule, and this is
We gotta move
conversation
on.
they found.
The moment we self-realize that we're talking about that, we'll be talking about corn on our next week's podcast, the new metal fan review. We're talking about things that are
I think we should-
I thought it was just your corn podcast.
Yeah, my weekly
Corn shits.
but it's not. But every week it's a different kind of corn. One week it's the band. Well, you never know what kind of
Another
corn
week's
we're going to
kettle
get into. Yeah.
Oh god.
This week it's kettle corn. Dude, we've got a fucking solid hour on kettle corn ready to go.
Around Christmas, you talk about the 3 different kinds.
Oh man, shh! Whoa now. You're
Spoiler.
Spoiler.
And then we do our greatest hits, which is a cornucopia.
Oh.
That's the name of the podcast, actually, Cornucopia. God damn it, that's good. That's fucking
I
good.
just- Well,
Except that it's a corn podcast.
Yeah, everything about that.
It's cornucopia.
Everything about that's good is good except everything.
That's just
except the name. Everything about that is good except everything but the name.
The review on iTunes is like, this podcast is great, except for the fact it's about corn. The band.
If we got really
Or the
famous,
food. It doesn't matter.
if we got really famous, that would be one of my experiments, is to try to find the shittiest topic and make an interesting podcast about it.
Oh, this week on cornucopia.
Dude, it's just... Now you're just doing Disturbed.
It's 601 doesn't it?
Alright, so...
2 seconds.
Anthem of the Already Defeated is a song that Ben dances to at that one point. I really dug that song.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like a Tom Waits song, which I've already mentioned, but again, Tom Waits.
It's a great
Kids, Tom Waits is a guy who played music before there was a thing called
kids don't
auto-tune.
listen.
Yeah,
kids.
that's true. People who know who Tom Waits is, go listen to Mule Variations again. It's a fucking good album.
Or Postcards from a Hooker in Vegas.
That's Postcards from
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. Yeah, but that's a song, not the album. Okay.
But I mean, that's the point at which I don't even realized how what an awesome character Ben was. But at that point, I mean, he really. I don't know. He just established himself as something like, I might watch this guy in another movie. Like if there was something.
I'm
more
interested to see what he's doing
right.
again. He actually in an interview talked about that he's going to do another genre film, but in this style. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do.
I have down here too that we touched on corn, but that at one point where there's a bunch of scenes of them driving along. I was like, man, this is like the perfect '90s video with zombies in it.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a Jen Blossom's.
I was going to say Red Hot Chili Peppers, Scar Tissue,
7 Mary 3.
American Standard, good album.
I can't believe I touched the nerve with 7 Mary 3.
Orange Avenue, better album.
I don't know.
Do they have anything else besides Cumbersome?
Yeah. The next album, Orange Avenue, is better than American Standard. Really good.
I cannot
listen
concur.
to it?
Yes, I cannot concur.
All right, at least you listen to it. That's
American
good.
Standard.
Okay.
I've only listened to Cumbersome.
Dude, good stuff.
I told you at the time.
I'm the oldest one here, and you guys made me.
No,
you guys are sounding old.
This is my age.
I told you
this is when I hit puberty.
I was in Athens and I couldn't get anybody to go see them with me.
96.
They're playing at AMF, and I couldn't get anybody else to go see
The
them.
bowling alley?
No, it used to be where Molly O'Shea's was. and all
Near
that.
there.
Yeah. But it was but we went and saw there. I was standing like second row, sitting there, and the lead singer pretty much I'm watching the lead singer make eyes at this girl who's like standing right beside me, and he notices that I'm looking. So then I'm making weird eye contact with the lead singer, and it's really uncomfortable because I know what he's doing and he knows what he's doing, and I can't tell if he's looking at me angrily or not because he sings kind of angry. So
my stomach hurts again. Tonight she said.
Is that Cumbersome?
No,
That
that's
sounds
my
just
mind.
like Cumbersome.
Yeah, well, all their songs kind of sound.
Like Cumbersome?
It was a good show.
It's a good album.
Yeah,
Check it out.
The second one.
I can guarantee.
Rock Crown. Check out Rock Crown.
I can guarantee you that I'm not going to be looking
Rock
at
Crown is
some
pretty
Mary
awesome
Three
too. Rock Crown's awesome too. And Orange Avenue, they're good.
So, getting back to the movie, one of the things I noticed is that Ben, god damn it, I keep wanting to call him Mickey because he seems like a Mickey.
This movie has taught me that I can get shot anywhere in my body except my head and be fine.
Yeah.
Or any movie has taught me that. It's like, oh, as long as I don't get shot in my brain, I'm fine.
You're fine.
Yeah, I can make it through.
Just in a leg, it's fine. You can sit around for days and have a good time.
How
Your
much?
kneecap is shattered. Whatever.
Do we get an idea of how many days passed?
I want to wait because there are a couple other
Okay.
things I want to hit before we get there. But what I think, what the movie led us to believe was going to happen is that, and what was happening, I think, is that Ben was driving Mickey away because what he was trying to do was toughen him up, make him prepared for this world, which is not really what Mickey wanted.
Right.
Because there's this sense, even in a post-apocalypse, there is still the sense that the grass is always greener on the other side, because Mickey is resistant to all of this, and every time Ben tries to just accept it, he can't accept it, and so any attempt to make him accept it just pushes him farther away.
I think that what happened was that Mickey had become cumbersome to Ben. I mean, there was a balance between two worlds, one with a nail and a cross, that they had to kind of bridge.
Arrow.
Darkness.
Arrow and a cross. One
Dark.
with an arrow and a cross.
You sure it's not nail and a cross?
It's arrow. This is
I'll
not
take your
Googleable.
word. I'll take your word on that.
For
one.
once, yeah. I listen to that album a lot.
What it really comes down to is Mickey would have been really happy to have gone and lived in the governor's little protected little world.
Yeah.
I felt this movie. I felt
You
like
think?
I felt like
Mickey would have.
Yeah, Mickey would have.
No.
No, I felt like this world was. I felt like they were just in another. They were just in the northeast of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like it was very. I mean, they definitely. There was definitely a lot of. It was similar to that. That idea and that world, that universe, and I just felt like. I mean, if he could have found. If he could have found his way to Woodbury, he would have. He'd have been fine with that.
I mean, and would have compromised himself for the safety and comfort, like that. Which is an entirely post 9/11 viewpoint. I'm taking it political. The idea of giving up freedom for security, he would definitely have done that. Ben, on the other hand, totally would not have.
Well, he would have dealt with Frank and Annie if they'd let him, and he would have. He would have easily have given in.
If she
had
hadn't
told him,
shot at them and thrown the keys away. So there is one sort of humorous montage where I'll see where the humor comes from, where they're hitting apples. It seems like I guess it does. They have been arguing so much through the movie, though it doesn't seem as though this feels in place. But anger isn't a thing where it's so constant that you can't let go and have a good time. There are times, even when you're in like a shitty relationship or a shitty friendship where you're tired of seeing the same person, there are moments of levity where you're not always mad at the person. And then you have that fun moment, but I don't think the movie communicates that well. It just seems like they're arguing and then everything's fine. Okay, I guess it was the post walkie-talkie sequence where Annie tells
so you were taking a gun.
Mickey, squirt gun. It was squirt gun. Tells Mickey they will kick me out if I talk to you, and so he's really bummed out. And Ben's like, "Fuck it, man, let's eat some apples," and then they do, and it seems to cure everything.
It was they were playing catch. That's what.
Have a catch, as they say up north, which sounds so fucking weird.
Let's have a catch.
They kind of no references to Stephen King. Although this movie this movie, I think, is meant to be less of a zombie movie, more of Jaws. I think this movie is heavily influenced by Jaws.
And in the back of the car, they do the Jaws scene of
show me the way to go home.
Yeah.
God damn it, I lost it when I saw it. I was like, yes, that is perfect, because that's really what it is. I mean, really, this is sort of Jaws is really the story of an adventure between three people who have to find space for each other, and also there's a shark. That's kind of what I feel like the movie is.
Well, one of them's Robert Shaw.
Yeah.
that's always
a shark and Robert Shaw.
Yeah. Shark. Robert Shark.
Robert Shark.
I wish they had sung the ladies of Farewell and Adieu to you fair Spanish ladies.
Or there was a scene where the car was sitting there, and then the meteor streaked across the sky.
We're gonna need a bigger car.
They needed a bigger car. Let's get
because that takes up the last 30 minutes of the movie. And them in the car.
And that's going to be its most controversial, most
problematic.
Well, yeah, problematic, but also
to the average viewer, maybe.
Love or hate, kind of like it's going to be the make or break moment in the movie for a lot of people. Like the rest of it's pretty entertaining. It's like, oh, there's a zombie here, there's funny dialogue here. It's like Kevin Smith is.
It's pretty. It's a nice looking movie.
So and they take the idea that zombies can't do much because some zombies. Right. I mean, can I imagine that many zombies have probably broken the window?
Probably.
And there was a couple of scenes
unintentionally
when the windows rolled down a little bit and they're getting too close. I'm like, watch that hair, dude. You're gonna get that zombie. You're gonna get it. But oh my god, it's a good thing they both smoke because
I could smell it.
oh, I could
It's
feel the claustrophobia, the heat, the sweat.
My
the
AC
smoke.
wasn't on at the time, and I started to feel a little bit of the heat. I was like, oh, I couldn't imagine. Also, shitting. That's something that they do not
I
address.
thought I actually where did they shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you go in their hand? They throw it out the window. That's easy.
But if you're
in their faces.
if you're as malnutrition as they obviously are, or malnourished as they obviously are, it probably wouldn't be a big poop.
But they never really address how long they're in that car.
It's a long time. It's got to be days.
I figured. I'm assuming days too. But
how long do you think you would survive in a car like that? 45 minutes, maybe.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't survive that long.
With us. Yeah. How long would the three of us survive?
Guys, horrible contest.
Oh, I think that's got to survive.
Who seems to stay the longest in the car?
No windows up.
And we both, all three of us had to start smoking.
We have to pick up an addiction for this contest.
I choose
We
heroin.
picked up an addiction.
I choose heroin. A constant stream of heroin. I'll just be out the whole time.
You will be shitting a lot, I believe. that's
I'm pretty regular, guys.
But we're from the last generation of people who really remember things being really smoky all the time. Everywhere I went was smoky and gross. And I can smell that smell. I know what that smell is.
Oh, yeah. I totally can smell it.
Smell smokes around you.
No.
I had one quick question, Dan. Maybe I missed it. Did they ever just try to hotwire the car? I've seen enough movies.
They talked about it.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Because Ben says, if you try that, you're just going to fuck it all up.
Right, yeah, okay.
Because they don't know. That's like,
I
they
don't
talk
know
about in
either.
the movies. He's like, in the movies, just rub.
Yeah,
It's like in Office Space that's how big of nerds we are. We are looking up laundering on the
We're looking up laundering money in the fucking dictionary.
Right.
Yeah, that's just like I wouldn't know how to hotwire a car.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, and I know cars, but I don't know which two. And if you pick the wrong two wires, they're not grounded. You're going to electrocute yourself, and it's going to be really
it
unpleasant.
matters at this point. That's the.
I would have just killed myself at that point.
Yeah,
Like, she knew the keys. Let's kill ourselves.
But I like that. I think if the roles were reversed, I sort of question whether it should have been Ben God damn it. Yeah, if Ben were the one to be shot and make it go out, but I think it works out really well because there's still a sense of hope at the end because Mickey would have obviously given up. I don't know. Do you think he would have killed himself though? I don't know that. Is he strong enough to take that action?
Well, I mean, I don't know if he would have killed himself, but I think if it had been the other way around, I don't know that he would have killed Ben and Ben would have just killed him.
Yeah.
If you flip it around. No, I think it works out on who is the survivor. He's the stronger of the two. I mean, that's the person. And even the idea of his revenge mission that he has now is a really cool idea.
That's the sequel. Also, a catcher's really the one who's got to be the one to decide when the pitcher needs to go. So.
Yeah, he pulls the team together.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think the sequel should be a not Road Warrior. Just have a hipster Road Warrior as the second movie where he's tracking down this lady, Annie.
The battery 2 still going.
Oh, nice.
Oh my god.
And going. So, and I mean, do you find? I see why it was done. It was done full. It wasn't done because the movie was too short. It was done with a
It
purpose.
was long enough. That was the thing. It was an hour and 40 minutes. I was expecting it to be something like an hour and 20 or something.
Yeah, that's what we always talk about that. Like as soon as I looked at the thing, was how long it was.
Hour
Like
40. Really?
140. Jesus.
But actually, it was an independent horror film a lot of times. But yeah,
it was done with a purpose, though. I mean, he definitely because one of the things about the film is that he said they filmed for 15 days and they spent a year on post production because I think they only sunk like $5,000 into making this movie, which is super micro budget, and so they spent a lot of time on post production, which we never talked about the Foley work at the beginning of the sound of when they're walking, you can definitely hear like, oh, this is someone on a sound stage or something doing feet rustling noises, which was fine.
But I mean, the sound is so key to that last act, though. Without sound, that's a really bone sequence. Yeah. I mean, it's just done. But that sound, it's so annoying
and monotonous.
It's so unnerving at the same time. It's like, that it sends home that's what that situation would have been like. I mean, that was some really great Philly there. I mean, the sound sells that last act.
And I think it works. I mean, it borders I mean, it's too long, but it's too long with a purpose. Like, it's meant to be too long. It's a Terrence Malick move, not a...
Or the idea that, or even
Michael
like,
Bay,
what is it, Hitchcock in Lifeboat, where it's just the people stuck in the lifeboat. It's that idea. It's like, oh, how long do you fucking wait before you guys make a decision to go out and either you're gonna live or die.
Well, plus the cook was a Nazi.
Get to living, get to dying.
Get busy living, get busy dying.
There you go.
Goddamn right. Did he say
Red.
that in the shot?
I don't think he said goddamn. You got
Well, in my mind, he says you're goddamn right.
You goddamn right.
You're goddamn right.
No, I mean, it was. I mean, no, it was good. Like I said, I mean, it really made me. Like I said, the movie it brought to mind most for me was Trigger Man the whole time, but just I liked it better, you know, and at least you know the bulk of it.
Well, who is to blame for it?
For what?
The zombie apocalypse?
Them getting stuck in the car. Who's to blame for that situation?
Mickey.
Is he totally to blame?
Yeah, he shouldn't have fucking.
I mean,
can you blame?
No, you have to blame the people who did it. It's their fault.
I would blame one of you guys. If I was stuck in the back of that car, we'd gone through some real shit about who we're gonna blame. Then of course, you know, we probably did 69 or at least done the devil, you know, the triangle.
Ooh. But I mean, that's
why not? Who cares?
It's that mean, you know, cruel group that we don't even get an idea of how
the road group.
Are they
cannibals?
Are they mean or cruel or not? But we sure get that idea. If this guy's willing to kill these two people to take, you know, or kill this one guy to take a car, and then she's so frightened that she's the one, unless she's just as, you know, sadistic as the other, using that fear as her excuse.
Do you have like when it was just Ben in the car? Did you like kind of guess like how's this going to end? What's going to happen to make this? I kept thinking that he was going to pull. I was waiting for the reveal of like him pulling the sheets off and like Mickey being a zombie. That's what I was waiting for.
Well, Mickey had already shot. That couldn't have been. He shot Mickey in the car.
No. Before Mickey got back in the car.
Oh,
when we had that long period of time where we didn't know what was going on. All you heard was zombies. Like he's going to pull them to the side to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of weird that he doesn't try to watch what he's doing, just to see what he's doing, and have that moment of like he pulls to the side and Mickey's like, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben has a lot of nerve. I mean, that's the thing is he's got. I mean, I think it shows most people would be glued to the screen, the window there, but he's content. At least he can force himself not to look. I would be looking.
Oh, the cigarettes.
I feel like his solution that he came up with should have been something they probably should have come up with earlier. Like we already escaped this one time by just opening another door and going out this side. Let me try that again.
And they never really understood. Do they explain why he unravels the baseball?
To chew the lead. He was eating it.
He was hungry.
Oh, that makes. I had down here. I was like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, he was eating.
Which are baseballs aren't made out of leather anymore, are they?
Chinese leather.
Cowhide.
Maybe.
Isn't that what leather is?
Yeah, but.
But no, I mean that was why it doesn't.
I didn't get that. It makes sense now because he looks at the
and
little,
then to floss.
Because he's really worried about oral hygiene, honestly.
Right.
I agree.
No, I think that my solution would have been like, let's get really drunk and then shoot ourselves.
Why not? I probably would have gotten in an argument and shot the other person, and then in a fit of despair shot myself.
Right. And then we're like, oh my god, I can't believe
I make jokes about the rape journal and that kind of stuff, but I'm sure I would just kill myself.
I would just kill myself.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what are you gonna be raping here? This is not a good. It's not your world. This is not your apocalypse. This is not your apocalypse.
Zombies don't fight back.
They do.
They do. But they won't tell the police. I guess that's my main point.
God damn it.
Zombies don't call the police.
That's a terrible, terrible low horror movie.
That's the back of our shirt. We'll have the horror podcast. Zombies don't call the cops.
The opinions expressed on this podcast are those of Brian
and Brian alone.
Brian of the
those
whole
people
podcast,
who may be watching and get the
and not Tyler or Drew.
Just Brian.
There were 5. But...
So
they're like boring.
But yeah, I mean,
you're just take your shirt off.
Overall, I really like the movie. I think,
Not me.
especially for the budget.
Oh!
We have reached a point where people can make Clerks or not Desperado. What was the first one? El Mariachi. Just on
iPhones
and make it look nice. Yeah. I mean, we're reaching that point. I'm surprised. I mean, I think VOD is kind of the future for movies.
Well, you know what's funny, and it finally like sank in as I was, even though Amazon, it was like I think the movie was like either $7 or $8 on Amazon, but the idea that when I bought Only God Forgives, I think I rented it for $7. Like, God, rent a movie for $7, like. That's how much I'd pay more for a fucking movie ticket and not have 24 hours to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, I split...
Or a DVD.
Yeah, I split Only God Forgives up into 2 nights. Like, I couldn't do that in a theater.
Yeah. What did you think of it? Just quickly.
I loved it. I liked it.
Have you seen it?
Forgives. I mean, I think that it's... I think my greatest joy was to think that people who loved Ryan Gosling after, like, Drive or Crazy Stupid Love, he literally speaks 10 lines in this movie.
Nice.
Which is fine. I mean, it's an amazing looking movie, and it's got a great story, but yeah, he is...
Well, Nicholas Winding Refn has never been about...
Dialogue. I mean,
loquacious...
No, how many lines does he say?
How many lines does Mad Mikkelsen say in Valhalla Rising? I mean,
I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen Valhalla
Rising. It's number 1 on my Insta-Q. That's what's next.
I guess the one difference, would be... Bronson, I guess Tom Hardy says a good bit as Charlie Bronson.
Yeah.
Charles Bronson?
Charlie Bronson.
Charlie Bronson.
Different guy.
Have you seen Bronson?
I haven't seen Bronson.
The most notorious prisoner in UK history.
Alright, I'll have to watch that.
It's cool. It's good.
It's cool.
No,
Tom Hardy is so cool in it.
But I do like that style of film, is that I like it now.
I really like this movie.
Maybe in my younger days when I wanted to
What
hear...
are you talking about? Only God Forgives still?
This,
okay.
and
to make sure.
The battery. I was thinking of the battery.
Okay,
well, both of them, for that point, is that it doesn't have to be filled with wall-to-wall action or conversations. I like what we see. We see the shot, like the way the camera composes a shot. You can appreciate that as you get a little more educated as it comes to film, is that how things are supposed to look. You don't have to have constantly bombarded with, your senses bombarded with blood and shit getting torn out.
It definitely...
Constantly bathed.
I don't want to be constantly Michael Bay. Yeah.
There's been such a... I mean, the market for zombie movies has been so, oversaturated.
Sure.
That this shows... I mean, this is yet another zombie movie, but it definitely... I mean, I am open to watching any new movie, any movie that takes a topic that has been so overdone and does something different with it. I tend to really only find movies not interesting if they don't take a chance on structure or something. They have to do something different. Like if a movie just feels as though, well, of course this is going to happen next, and then this is going to happen. That's one of the things, I mean, as much as I like World War Z, in retrospect, a lot of it felt like, I mean, it was bananas, but a lot of it felt like, okay, this is what's going to happen next. This is what, you can kind of see they go in, I know that when they leave this tenement building that they're going to be chased and shoot some people and hop on a helicopter and fly away.
Right. Well, it's pretty much go and, go to Netflix and pick any movie that has a title that has Of the Dead in it.
Yeah.
Whatever that might be.
A set of people will be in a place or moving to a place and will...
Besieged by zombies.
They will make it for a while, and then at the end, something catastrophic will happen, and then people will be ripped open and eaten, and some will make it or won't, and then the movie ends.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
Scene.
We just ruined it for all.
It's a form. I mean, zombie movies, I think, work, though, because they're not always so tied to a structure. There's not always, a standard. But, I mean, there are... I like how you say that there are types of zombie movies. I mean, there are Of the Dead Romero type zombie movies, and then there are, I can't think of another right now. But
the problem, I don't want to say the problem, but the thing about zombie movies,
Nazi zombies.
Now that there's so much, the thing is there is just that standard zombie movie, whereas it used to be the thing that Romero did originally was the zombie movies were never about being zombie movies. They weren't anything about being a horror movie. They were about a social message movie that happened to be told because there were these back from the dead people.
And a lot of people misinterpret that.
Both Night and Dawn are that way, and then Day just didn't have enough of a budget to do what all they wanted to do. And now they're all just look at these living dead motherfuckers we got to sit there and
who's making your movie? Is this the cat? Is this Fieldy's nuts from Korn? Is he making? Look at all these dead motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's Cat Williams making zombie movies.
God damn it.
Have you seen the what is the Twitter site? It's like what is it? Cat Will Ferrell or like something like that.
Cat Will
it's combining Cat Williams and Will Ferrell. It's strange.
No, but like I said it earlier though that zombie movies and you mentioned zombie movies have never really been about zombies, but they've been that zombies are just the obstacle, but we are what we have.
Yeah.
Zombie
We are the horror.
Like what happens to us when these situations happen. And then the remake of Night of the Living Dead had that good point where that at the end the girl, the female character makes a comment like, "They're us, we're them, and they're us." That
Did you just salute the Tom Savini Night remake? Wow,
I'd
doesn't
salute
happen
it
often.
with
It's in color though.
with the guy
Tony
from
Todd.
Tony Todd.
Yeah.
Whoa! He said it in color, and then made a comment.
well, no.
Racist.
I think the problem is that people
Racist.
Racist.
For a long time, people misinterpreted what the social satire was supposed to be. Like, Romero did a very specific thing, so people thought, like, oh, if we make... People will be able to interpret what we're doing with this, and then they just made a really boring Romero knockoff. I mean, only he can make... It's like people...
Even he is questionable.
But people who play... Let's say, people who
Survival
play covers of Jimi Hendrix songs or of Stevie Ray Vaughan songs, there is something specific to Stevie Ray Vaughan that makes his guitar sound like he does. No one else can make it sound that way, and people who can still don't have what Stevie Ray Vaughan has. So people who make Romero knockoffs are just making Romero knockoffs. They're not able to make a Romero flick or a Romero zombie movie.
Except for the Dawn remake, which is
But even that's not really a Romero movie. That it's so hyperkinetic and
true.
different.
It's
Zack
Zack
Snyder's
Snyder and James
right.
Gunn at that point.
It's at that point is James Gunn's take on zombies, and not they weren't just out to make. Because I think the movie would have been a failure if they had just tried to make another like a slow Romero. We're making a mess of thing. I mean, that movie moves of anything.
yeah.
Dawn of the Dead really gets up and goes, and I dig that about it.
I think interesting. I think it's bring us back to zombies for a little bit, but small screen zombies. The reason the most recent seasons of Walking Dead have worked better than some of the earlier ones is because, unlike the comic, which Kirkman from kind of the get-go has realized that the enemy is us.
Yeah,
and that's where the last season where we dealt with Woodbury and the governor. Has been stronger than the first few seasons where they still seem to think the bad guy was, we're all together, but it's the zombies that we got to be afraid of. It's like, no, that's not.
And I think that's
you can keep zombies at bay.
And I think that's a particular kind of zombie thing too. Now the Kirkman style of zombie flick. I mean, the enemy is us because Romero touches on it, but I think Kirkman really delves into it. You're on camera, so.
But he delved into it this week.
It's Kirkman delves into that.
So Kirkman really delves into the idea that we're the problem because
this
I like the issues of The Walking Dead that have no zombies in them because the zombies get in the way.
So almost every episode of The Walking Dead.
I mean, I'm talking about the issue of the comic book. The comic book is so interesting because the zombies get in the way of all the really cool political intrigue that's happening within the walls of this place. I like that. The zombie attacks almost feel obligatory now, and they're there to. When we need to take a character out, zombies will appear.
Oh, right. There's dead people outside.
Yeah, you read the comic, you're like, oh yeah, this is a zombie thing,
right.
Which is what I think it's a great compliment to play to Kirkman that he has been able to so well articulate the problems, like to make this world he's created a microcosm for all the problems in our nation. I think this is sort of the evolution of the Romero, what he started.
It's where the show, for all the things it does right,
and why the video game is better than both of them.
Has only recently figured out, like the last season, like I said, where they finally gave us...
Well, because Kirkman is running the show now.
People as bad guys, and even then, the governor became more of a comic villain than even the comic governor was, although David Morrison's governor looks a lot more realistic than the comic governor ever looked.
He looks like Major Blood from G.I. Joe.
With long hair.
Yeah.
Yes, if Major Blood had both eyes and long hair. Well, I guess
Major Blood had an eye patch.
No, I was been in the Comic Governor for a minute. I forgot it was missing that too. But they had the long hair.
Yeah.
Which is very. And it was so that was
vaguely Hispanic too, wasn't
or
it?
Native American. It seemed. I couldn't tell which, but that was the thing. So I don't know. I think the TV show was stronger this past as we've been dealing with the governor the past few seasons has been better. But at the same time, the governor I think has served his purpose on the show too. They need to find another like the comic has. The comic's moved on. The governor isn't the indefinite bad guy. He's not. He's not Dr. Claw who's sitting there always. Always the bad guy. I mean,
But
they realize they have to get rid of one. If they have to succeed at someone and defeat someone and find someone bigger that's a bigger problem.
Or a different kind of problem.
Like Negan right now, who is, or I say right now, I'm a couple of issues behind myself.
I'm
3.
I'm several months behind.
But
I
he's a
am
major-
still on episode, issue 50.
You're behind.
I'm several months behind because
You're at least half the population still alive that are dead now. It's
Yeah.
like-
I just want to plug. Let's do a few plugs, and then we can go to thebatterymovie.com. Has all of the songs. The soundtrack. The soundtrack is definitely necessary to the movie experience. So
yeah.
soundtrack is on there. All the artists, contact information, all that stuff. So thebatterymovie.com.
Get your big headphones and listen to it.
That's right.
Totally. Let's get your Discman out. Your yellow Discman out.
Yeah. That was great.
Mine's black. I think
visit
mine was maybe
Sony did. Yeah, Sony did a yellow one.
I didn't know the yellow.
The sports.
Yeah,
They had a whole sports line.
And that's why you didn't have it.
She can't discuss sports, so just leave it to us.
Is it?
So Sony had a sports one that they did that was yellow.
Sport.
Which is one Tyler had for all this pre-football music.
Yeah. So some
I'm so different. I play sports, but I also listen to metal. Oh, I'm so different.
I'm married and normal and I like metal. I have a kid, but I'm really extreme and talk about rape. So Rock Plaza Central is one of the bands that composed a lot of music for it. There's also The Parlor, Wise Blood, I think did the score, so all of the symphonic elements, I guess. El Cantador and Sun Hotel did a really cool song from there, so check them out. We need to talk about Amazon and PayPal. Go to
Hook us up.
yeah.
Come on, guys.
We talk about it every week. We need money. We need money. Our pimp is shekels.
Who's gonna buy all these movies that we want to buy for us besides us?
Yeah.
If you don't give us money.
Yeah.
That's why we moved beyond Netflix. We're not. Just doing Netflix
We don't
anymore.
expect to become millionaires.
Someone give us $8 or $24 because it costs that much for all three of us to buy.
a license.
Right. It costs all three for all of us to buy this movie off of Amazon.
So go to the website. Well, the website has all of the links you need to be able to donate to PayPal. We're going to try to set up a thing so that you could do a monthly. So, $1 an episode, $2 a month. That's nothing. That's $24 a year, $1 an episode. You can do that. Just set it up. It'll auto debit from your account.
What is that in Scottish money?
I don't know, but
In pounds,
if you know me and give us some money, what you want in return is like a dick pic, I can handle that. That's fine.
He Snapchats.
It's not that big a deal, guys. It's literally not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Gina knows what I'm talking about.
The also in October,
Big time. This is big.
we have an event we're trying to push.
We'll be
It's coming up
emceeing an event.
October 26th.
Chattanooga, Tennessee, Barking Lakes Theater.
The Frightening Ass Film Festival 3.
We will be hosting the
MCing.
hosting the event along with Mise en Scene Studios Film Club. My buddy Chris, who I'm doing the theater with, runs that part of the club.
And we actually saw the logo for the theater early. So we are privy to some secret information. I know.
So we'll do that. We're gonna have you can go to we'll post the website on our site and where you can go for the rules. But we'll do a short film contest where we'll be the judges, and we'll also do a costume contest.
Costume contest.
And guys, I'm wearing a costume. So
I'm gonna be dressed like Mr. Slave. So.
Oh.
You'll recognize.
I'll have to change my costume then. We'll be posting information about that on the website.
Go like the pages and then tell them that you got the information from the Horrible Podcast.
And if you're even let's say if you're in Atlanta, Nashville, Lexington, Kentucky, Athens. If you're within 3 hours of Chattanooga, come.
Just go.
I mean,
It's gonna be
Jesus
awesome.
Christ.
It's gonna be fun.
Chattanooga's
How much
a
are
pretty
tickets?
city. $15 for all day. That's 4 bands, 3 movies, and us.
Yeah.
And comedians.
We're worth it.
Yeah. And that includes Brian.
Includes me.
Pujol.
Ash Nashville, White Fang, Colleen Reynolds, I think is her name, and Shark Week.
The movies. What are the movies going to be?
Spider Baby, Maniac, and Bad Milo.
Which you can sit there and you can preview Maniac already with our episode.
Yeah,
and then
right.
ready
You
to
can
see it.
listen to it and be ready to go.
Or you can watch it and then listen to the episode. It works either way.
Or get totally meta, listen to the episode as you watch it.
Oh my gosh, that would be crazy.
Well, it's kind of
Would
like
that be rude to the movie to do that?
Nobody
when
else.
it's like Ryan Johnson released audio commentary to Looper so that he encouraged people to take their headphones into the theater for a second watch and listen to the audio commentary.
That's
It adds all sorts of. So you watch the movie, come out and see us. I mean, $15, 3 movies, 4 bands. Where are you gonna get that deal?
And
$25 get you a T-shirt designed by our Mike Groves, who designs
At
our.
poobird.com.
Right.
And nothing
At
additional
Poobird-
will get us to sign it.
Yeah, we'll sign it. Hey, we'll sign boobs too.
Yeah.
I'm not against that.
Man boobs.
And
Only.
just so you know, none of that money goes to us.
Yeah,
No.
we don't get anything. We're
Right,
only
this is going back to getting more movies in Chattanooga, helping us with the helping me with the theater. These guys are going to be working day jobs all their lives. But
It's true.
and if you enter the film competition, short film, that money goes to Chattanooga State's film program. So donating back to the community, guys.
And we have lots of food suggestions in Chattanooga too. Great food in
God,
Chattanooga.
yeah. So if you have.
and you out there.
And if you want, to come and have us come eat with you before this or during the show,
Yeah, we might tweet where we are out the night before. Hey, if there's
It's going to be either Taco Moncita, Community Pie, Urban Stack,
Aretha
Aretha Frankenstein. We'll definitely be at Aretha Frankenstein's
That
probably
morning.
Sunday morning, before we leave town.
So we might tweet where we are. So if people want to meet up and talk movies or whatever, we'll be open to that totally. So
If you want to buy us a fat stack at Aretha's, that's fine.
I'll take the 8-ball was the Guinness and the
The
Guinness
Jameson?
and- no, it's the Guinness and the Chef Espresso.
Yeah.
Oh.
The foam-
Tyler's going to be on that.
The Formosa is amazing.
The Fomosa?
That
Crispin.
Vietnamese pho?
it's a
and-
crispin with orange juice.
Ah,
It's good.
about that. Tyler, what are you going to be drinking?
energy drinks, coffee, water.
Did you get
If
back?
you got an extra monster, bring it for Tyler.
Yeah, bring me a Monster Energy drink.
Or, help us pressure him back into alcohol. So come out and see us. Thanks for listening. Go rent the Battery.
It's a
Check
really
it out.
good movie.
It's
Check it
good.
out.
It's worth your time, and it's worth. I think Amazon was like $6 or $7. It's worth. It's definitely worth.
It's
that.
definitely worth it. And if you're a Prime member, it might be even cheaper than that.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Check us out on thehorriblepodcast.com, at horriblepcast on Twitter. Wolfman's Got Nards at thehorriblepodcast.com if you want to email us.
And if you're free on Wednesday nights, check out we might be live streaming.
Yeah,
Check
check
us
us out.
If you watch us tonight, that's great. I did take my shirt off or pull my titties out at one point. A man titties.
He had to stick around.
You
for that.
saying
That was buried.
My
If y'all want
titties.
some man titties, you come watch it.
It was buried.
Any personal things you want to talk about? Not personal. I mean, anything you want to plug. Any personal plugs. Drew is the movie reviewer for Flagpole. Flagpole.com. I'm a contributor to Bloody Disgusting. Bloody dash disgusting.
Brian cuts up animals if you have.
I'm also opening a theater, ScenicCityCinema.com.
Yeah, ScenicCityCinema.com.
Yeah,
I've got a Facebook
I'm trying to
group
get
for
away
it.
from the animal part of my life and the other part.
All right, let's do this.
I'll cut all of you out. All right. Thanks for listening. I'm Brian.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Drew.
See you next time on the Horrible Podcast.
Bye.
Okay.
And now I'm gonna hit stop.
I just
To
want-
bit.
Is there anyone still around?
Stop. I don't know.
No, we.
All right. Okay. Cool. So let's just keep going.
I need the
You don't
sound.
hear me.
We're on.
I don't know if some horror films used it, but that's a great title for a horror film.
What?
Dead Air.
Dead Air.
Okay.
Is there not one?
Oh, there is.
I'm sure.
I'm sure it's on Netflix.
There has to be.
I'm sure.
So one of
shit in a beard.
and we're live
Cheat,
for
shit,
people who can find me. I think that if people find, we're posting, so they should be able to find this at the very least. All right, so I did a lot of research for the movie because, I was really into watching it. I actually really enjoyed the movie. The music actually drew me in early on.
Do you
So-
research the music? As you
Yeah, so I looked up music stuff. So The band seemed pretty accessible. So
Rock Central Plaza is really, isn't that their name?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really cool. That song.
The one song I really like from the movie when Ben does when he sort of dances around,
Right.
that's from Rock Central Plaza.
Okay, yeah.
And it sounds like something Tom Waits would do from his Frank's Wild Years era, which is one of my favorite Tom Waits eras of all of his eras. But the tagline for the movie, which I think is really genius, is "In a land ravaged by the dead, Ben and Mickey learn how to survive each other."
Right.
Which is really what the movie's about. The movie, it is a kind of a non-zombie movie, or not an anti-zombie movie, because it's not against zombies, but zombies are sort of like secondary forces in this, and not as threatening.
I mean, it's firmly in the mumble gore category.
That's what I was going to say. Would you say it's mumble gore?
Yeah.
Because I want to say, is this mumble gore? I think, but I'm not sure.
Well, it even has Larry Fessenden. He doesn't show up, but he does. He is the voice,
which is
of
weird.
Frank. So yes, that right there is that is kind of your like one of your
like he's a
cards for your
right.
your entry card. What is it? I can't think
I don't
of
know.
what that
Entry points to the genre, but Larry Fessenden was in Trigger Man.
Oh yeah,
he was one of the henchmen in Trigger
he's done
Man.
his own. I mean, he's kind of the pre-new wave, filmmaker like the Louis Malle, who or someone like that who's kind of guiding the youngsters into what they're doing here. And so yeah, I think Gardner. His film is definitely in that mumble gore vein. I mean, the one film y'all didn't bring up that it reminded me of more than anything was Trigger Man. It reminded me a lot of Trigger Man.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it did too. It's kind of.
I was thinking Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I don't use the hips.
Sorry,
but now I do know JGL.
No, I think you're right about that, and I liked that they were two completely different people, and it took you a while to realize.
Be the same person?
That Mickey was kind of just timid about everything, Ben is just Ben.
Ben is just the complete opposite of that. He I love.
He was waiting for this to happen.
Yeah, right.
He's not unlike Tallahassee from Zombieland. I mean, this is where he is thriving in this. Where I imagine that pre-zombie outbreak, he was struggling and unhappy, whereas this has given him the chance to be like a hipster Thoreau.
I don't get the idea that he was a great catcher.
He was. They make the comment that he was the starting catcher, and Ben was the Mickey was the backup. The bullpen, and Ben was the starting catcher.
Okay, for this minor league team.
The
Pittsfield.
What's the team that Kenny Powers plays for?
Yeah, I think
Myrtle Beach
they're from Pittsfield because they talk about the girl he dated in Pittsfield.
Right, I thought that's just what they were playing, but that might have been it. I don't recall 100% on that.
Okay, so
you stop, you die.
Yeah.
Well, you stop, you die. You wear headphones in the zombie apocalypse. The worst idea of anything.
Well, he makes and I like how they address that later too about Ben saying, "Well, I'm going to wear them now since you're." It's your turn to just kind of be the one who worries about everything.
Yeah.
It definitely plays into it. It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes character sense, I think, because Mickey is more detached from this world. He doesn't know quite how to live in this world, so he's trying to check out of it, and mentally he's sort of checked out. Whereas Ben, he is fully in the moment. He even talks about. I mean, it's almost like. This movie is the basis for transcendentalism because he's in the moment, he's in nature, he feels every moment, he's happy, he's looking around, he does not create a barrier between himself and the world like music does that.
Good question to jot down for Jeremy Gardner.
Like, is he a fan of transcendentalism?
Yeah,
I'll definitely ask that. That's always one of the questions.
How about this? So let's add this.
I will say,
did Elon Musk just come up with that technology?
I'll say the third character in this movie is the soundtrack. I think that the movie is completely so tied to the soundtrack, and for some reason it all works. I mean, from the very Johnny Cash-y sound, it is a cover of a Johnny Cash song in the beginning. "Ain't No Grave," right? That is from the opening credits.
I didn't do as much research about the soundtrack as you did.
But I'm just saying,
I'm just here for horror movies. I can't.
But I think it is a cover of Johnny. I think it is a cover of a Johnny Cash. I think it's from the final album he made.
Is that 80s rock or metal? Because then no help.
That's true. That's true. So, but the soundtrack was really.
But Brian will have a sound sample for later, I'm sure, for something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the reference. And I'll come in with
But the movie does definitely have mood. It's more about mood than anything else. There is really no. It pushes the boundaries of what we can consider a horror movie, which is like what I enjoy about a lot of what we watch. It is it's very conscious of genre, because it sort of like doesn't fit into the zombie genre, and it sort of avoids all those tropes that we've become so comfortable with.
Well, I would like to think it's very much like The Last of Us, and now we can talk about it and ruin it for Tyler.
God damn it!
Even though
this is the only way you can do a spoiler, because I have to sit here and listen to it.
I haven't beat the game, but having played it so recently, I thought about that too. Like this is The Last of Us, basically The Last of Us before The Last of Us came out.
Yeah.
I think I would watch a TV show that consisted almost solely of people walking from house to house and looking for things. I wish that there was a zombie game that had maybe
You should play The Last of Us.
a few encounters. I wish I had a PS3 now. It has a few encounters with zombies or other people, but most of it's just kind of like people walking around and finding things in cabinets. I love it in literature. Like, I love books that are like
You
that.
literally just described The Last of Us.
Or State of Decay.
Which I
Yeah.
can play.
Alright, you should check that out.
The,
a lot of that is just searching in a house. There's zombies around. Yeah, you have to fight them, but I mean, the rest of the time
Like Z for Zacharias. Do you guys remember that book?
Here's a cabinet. Oh, let me check in this cabinet. Oh, no.
Or Fallout.
There.
The game that I never play is like Fallout's very similar.
Fallout
to
1 and 2.
And there
or
are zombies.
If Fallout didn't have all of the bugs and shooting, if it were just
We talking about 3?
yeah,
Okay.
Just
There
like
are,
Xbox, you'll be fine.
there are 2 Fallouts before the Fallout.
Right.
I know.
You'll be fine on it.
Oh, there are 2 games before the Fallout 3.
Before Fallout 3.
Well, you keep saying Fallout.
The Fallout's.
He didn't say
the
Fallout.
Masters.
Huh. He didn't say Fallout 3. He
Yeah,
said
because
Fallout.
when people talk about Fallout today, they obviously talk about the first. That's like when you say Grand Theft Auto. People are like, now are you talking about the
I'm always
shitty
referring to-
overtop
yeah.
Grand Theft Auto ones, or the later ones that everyone talks about?
Whenever I say a Metal Gear game, I'm easily meaning Metal Gear.
I'm obviously
or
meaning
2.
the first one that is based on the Terminator.
Check out State of Decay. I think
I'm going to.
The-
I
but
can
the-
afford all the games I want.
But what
Now
this
you
movie,
can.
Yeah, I have a job.
this movie, along with The Last of Us, and even The Road to a certain point, is that I have down here is like the zombies are. Let me find my little note here. I think we've learned from most zombie films that zombies are really just the obstacle. It's the other people that are the problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, as in, and I like that they're so sparse. Like the movie is very sparsely done. It's kind of like a really like this movie is visual feng shui because it's a lot of really nice still shots. There isn't a lot of movement with the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's set the camera down, watch these 2 characters sort of be in the scenery. There's a lot of nice colors in it. I mean, and this movie was done on almost no money.
I think we talked about in the Bay episode,
That hasn't been released yet.
which may or may not have been released yet.
It's sort of
The-
like Lost.
should-
The timeline of the podcast is like the TV show Lost.
The base should be released before this.
Well,
I think.
no, but
Maybe.
the idea of the Terrence Malick horror movie is this is probably as close as we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Good, very good fucking.
Well,
Except
yeah,
this is like 2 hours shorter than a Terrence Malick.
Yeah, but like there was a scene where like the end, like he grabs like the bug and looks at the bug on the top of the car.
I love that moment.
Yeah,
Like when it jumps and he sort of just looks up. I think that for minor actors, the way that they are, that they did a really good job.
Mickey, I thought, had a very JGL thing going.
what I wanted it more of Triggerman to be more of is that
Right.
they had that perfect dynamic of the friends going out on the trip. I mean, Triggerman wasn't a zombie movie, but
Well, what?
I thought that too. The whole idea of the town, the houses, and stuff like that they showed in Triggerman.
Well, it's just the aesthetic of it was very Triggerman, but it was like Triggerman made with characters that I was more entertained by, essentially.
And is that the difference? Because I was going to ask. I mean,
I thought.
what is more? I mean, I found this movie infinitely more compelling than Triggerman, but it was just kind of dudes walking around arguing a little bit, and that was basically it.
Well, it's gonna
the dialogue was really compelling. I think that's what was interesting about the movie.
Right. Well, I mean, I'd say the interesting thing to me, if we continue our Triggerman things, I I would like this film's third act to be more like Triggerman's, and Triggerman's first 2 acts to be more like The Battery.
Okay.
We could combine the two together.
Like somehow do that, because I mean I think that's where Triggerman got it right, was when
The third act
was the balls out third act, and then I think this is where, and The Battery's third act wasn't bad. It was just what I found to be the least compelling part of the movie. But but at the same time I understood why it was being done that way. It just
I want to leave the ending to the ending, but I will say that I've never felt so unnerved. Like the length of time that is spent in the car makes you feel the claustrophobia, and that was a ballsy move.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that, because I finished the movie today at work, but
you're not unemployed.
The idea of like at first I was annoyed, like, oh god, are they gonna stay in this car? And then it really did start to get to the point of where I was like, oh my god, they're gonna. Like, it became bothersome. Like, I was bothered by it.
Me too.
Oh,
I think that's the point. I mean, it takes a chance.
Right, but I mean, but it works.
Or a chainsaw.
It works as much as anything because of sound. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's the sound that is the key.
Hey guys, Discmans. Right? Am I right?
I know.
I'm glad I held one of mine.
Why?
Do you still have one?
I still have one.
Why are you glad?
Well, because you
Zombie
can't
apocalypse.
change. If you can't charge anything anymore, your iPhone and iPod are going to be useless.
Okay.
If you need batteries, Discmans take batteries. I mean, even though mine took like 8 AA batteries to go through them in 4
My
hours.
first one, it was like charging a spaceship.
Can you charge spaceships?
Yep.